We're starting tonight with a top update from home. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Uttar Pradesh on Monday. He laid the foundation stones of a Hindu shrine at Kalki Dham in the North Indian state's Sambal district. The day also saw him launching 14,000 projects worth more than $120 billion during the fourth groundbreaking ceremony for investment proposals in Lucknow.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a visit to the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. In the fourth groundbreaking ceremony for investment proposals received during the UP Global Investors Summit 2024, Prime Minister Modi launched 14,000 projects worth more than $120 billion.
यूपी में डबल इंजन की सरकार बने 7 वर्ष हो रहे हैं। बीते 7 वर्षों में प्रदेश में रेड टेप का जो कल्चर था, उस रेड टेप के कल्चर को खत्म करके रेड कारपेट कल्चर बन गया है।
Earlier in the day, the PM laid the foundation stone of a Hindu shrine at Kalki Dham in Uttar Pradesh's Sambal district. The PM was accompanied by Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and Kalki Dham Acharya Pramod Krishnam when he unveiled a model of the temple.
भगवान राम की तरह ही कल्की का अवतार भी हजारों वर्षों की रूपरेखा तय करेगा। हम ये कह सकते हैं कि कल्की काल चक्र के परिवर्तन के प्रणेता भी है और प्रेरणा स्रोत भी है, और शायद इसीलिए कल्की धाम एक ऐसा स्थान होने जा रहा है जो उन भगवान को समर्पित है जिनको अभी अवतार होना बाकी है।
Reflecting on Uttar Pradesh's pivotal role in driving India's agriculture-based rural economy, Prime Minister Modi called upon stakeholders to maximize the benefits of this opportunity. He expressed confidence in the capabilities of the people of Uttar Pradesh and the efforts of the double-engine government in laying the foundation for the state and the nation's progress.
And India is hosting a 9-day mega naval exercise in Visakhapatnam, which got underway on Monday. More than 50 countries are taking part in the 12th edition of the Milan exercise, which is being held at India's Visakhapatnam. The 9-day naval event would be a platform for the participating navies to share ideas to enhance security on the high seas and ensure safety of maritime commerce for growth and prosperity for all. In addition to building bridges for friendship and strengthening of relationships, sea exercises would enhance interoperability, enable exchange of best practices, and will boost confidence to undertake missions together in the future to tackle common challenges. And India's Navy Chief Admiral R. Hari Kumar praised the role of the Indian industry in achieving self-reliance in defence sector by 2047 at the inauguration of the manufacturing plant of Nive Defence and Aerospace Limited in Maharashtra's Pune.
Congratulations on this inauguration of this great facility on the occasion of the birth celebration of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. What an auspicious day to inaugurate a facility like this, which is strengthening our ability to make our own weapon systems in our country, in line with the national vision for Atmanirbharta. The Indian Navy is committed to Atmanirbharta.
A fresh flashpoint has arisen in recent days between China and Taiwan. The latest incident involves 2 Chinese fishermen who drowned in waters near a group of islands close to mainland China, but under Taiwanese rule. China has increased its Coast Guard patrols in the area as a response to the incident. Taipei even reported intrusion by Chinese military planes in its airspace on Monday and the boarding of a tourist boat by Chinese Coast Guard personnel around the same islands.
A tragic incident on Valentine's Day has become the cause of fresh tensions between China and Taiwan. Taiwan has defended the action of its Coast Guard after two people on a Chinese speedboat which got too close to a frontline Taiwanese island died when their boat overturned while trying to flee a Coast Guard ship. The Coast Guard also released footage of its personnel recovering one of the remains following the incident, which happened after a Chinese speedboat with 4 passengers on board entered prohibited waters near Kenmen's Beiding Islet, home to a military garrison.
As the speedboat was sneaking, trying to evade inspection and even drifting, the speedboat capsized and the 4 people on board fell into the sea. Then a patrol boat immediately launched a search and rescue, successfully rescuing 4 mainland fishermen, 2 of whom survived and are currently undergoing questioning by the Coast Guard. The other 2 were rushed to the Kinmen Hospital for emergency treatment and were declared dead after first aid was unsuccessful.
But China is livid. Monday saw the Taiwanese Defense Ministry saying it detected 17 Chinese military aircraft flying near its territory. Taipei also said Chinese Coast Guard personnel briefly boarded a Taiwanese tourist boat near Taiwan-controlled islands on Monday. Earlier, labeling the death of the fisherman as wicked, Chinese Coast Guard said it's strengthening its law enforcement activities and carrying out regular patrol in the contested waters. China's Taiwan Affairs Office also said the deaths had caused strong indignation in China, but that there were no off-limits waters. The decision to increase patrols raises concern about heightened proximity between Chinese and Taiwanese Coast Guard boats, increasing the risk of miscalculation and conflict. Taiwan considers itself a sovereign state, but China claims it as its own, even threatening to take it by force at a time of its choosing, despite US assuring its security. China has ramped up efforts to challenge the long-standing status quo across the Taiwan Strait in recent weeks, with Beijing also altering a flight path near the median line of the Taiwan Strait.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is expected to seek a second term in running the European Union's executive body. Germany's opposition, Christian Democrats, are set to announce von der Leyen as their candidate for Commission President at a party meeting on Monday. This confirms a widespread assumption that von der Leyen would seek another term. Following this, the former German defense minister is then likely to become the candidate of the pan-European central-right umbrella group, the European People's Party, at a congress in Bucharest in March. The leaders of the European Union's 27 member countries will choose the Commission's president after elections to the European Parliament in June later this year. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine goes on as Moscow's forces claimed full control of the vast Soviet-era plant in ruined Ukrainian town of Avdiivka on Monday, while Ukraine claimed to have shot down a Russian warplane. The fighting also dominated the discussions of the European Union's foreign ministers' meeting in Brussels, while Japan has extended support for rebuilding Ukraine's economy.
Russian forces on Monday claimed full control of the vast Soviet-era coke plant in the ruined Ukrainian town of Avdiivka. The fall of Avdiivka is Russia's biggest gain since it captured the city of Bakhmut in May 2023. And since then, the world is discussing the issue. Russia and Ukraine conflict also greatly discussed at the recently concluded Munich Security Conference.
We have to send a message of support to the Russian opposition, and at the same time we will continue watching how the war is. It's about 2 years that Putin launched this war against Ukraine, and it doesn't look being ready to stop it.
In the latest of the ongoing war, the Russian Defense Ministry said its forces thwarted several Ukrainian attacks from multiple directions, including tanks, armored vehicles, self-propelled artillery and drones. While Ukraine claimed to have conducted strikes on Russia's military targets and shot down a warplane. Amid Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky's efforts to have more military assistance from the US, UK, and European Union countries, Japan has now extended a helping hand to Ukraine, not for war, but for reconstructing its economy.
We will support Ukraine so that they can move towards reconstructing their economy, move to an industrial development phase, and to develop a foundation for a sustainable recovery and reconstruction to rebuild their livelihoods. We are also ready to create a new industry to contribute to Ukraine's economic growth.
With less than a month remaining for Russia's presidential election, Russia's full control over Avdiivka has projected Putin as a strong leader. Ravindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
Russia is outraged with the West's reactions on the death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny and has issued a warning about offensive remarks coming from the US and Europe. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said in a statement that President Vladimir Putin would not be harmed by these remarks. Peskov also added that the inquiry into Navalny's passing is ongoing and is being carried out in compliance with Russian law. European foreign ministers met in Brussels on Monday with the recent death of Russia's Alexei Navalny on the agenda. The Foreign Affairs Council exchanged views on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, focusing on the EU's military support for Ukraine, security commitments and Ukraine's peace plan. The Council will also hold talks with the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi. And still to come on DD India News are: in Pakistan, the Sunni Ittihad Council joins hands with Imran Khan's PTI. In Mexico City, thousands of the streets are staging protests against Mexican president's government. And at least 26 people have been killed in tribal fighting in northern highlands of Papua New Guinea.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf has entered into an alliance with the Sunni Ittihad Council to form the next government in Islamabad. Independent candidates backed by the PTI, who had won seats in recent parliamentary polls, have joined the Sunni Ittihad Council. The Supreme Court's hearing on a plea for annulling the elections over rigging charges, meanwhile, has been deferred till the 21st of this month.
Independent candidates backed by Pakistan's jailed former Prime Minister who won seats in elections will join the minority Sunni Ittihad Council political party to form a government. Leaders attending the joint press conference said that the decision for alliance has been taken after consultation with Imran Khan.
पाकिस्तान तहरीक-ए-इंसाफ के साथ हमारा इत्तेहाद आज से 7-8 साल पहले से ये अब एक नई सिचुएशन डेवलप हुई है। कुछ लोग ये कहते हैं कि नया इत्तेहाद हो रहा है, नहीं।
The alliance will help the PTI to claim a share of the 70 reserved seats in the National Assembly.
हम ये ऐलान करने जा रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान तहरीक-ए-इंसाफ की आज़ाद सपोर्टेड जिनको आज़ाद कैंडिडेट कहा जाता है वो हम बाज़ाबिता तौर पे इनके सुन्नी इत्तेहाद काउंसिल को असेंबली में ज्वाइन करेंगे। आपको मालूम है कि नेशनल असेंबली में 70 रिजर्व सीटें मौजूद हैं। इसी तरह पूरे मुल्क में 227 रिजर्व सीट्स है। ये सीटें मिलती है उन सिर्फ पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को। इसलिए अपने रिजर्व सीटों को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए अपने मेंबरान को वो कवर देने के लिए ताकि पार्टी इंस्ट्रक्शन की पाबंद हो, हमारा आपस में एक फॉर्मल मुआहिदा भी हुआ है और हमारे कैंडिडेट उसके पेश नज़र सारे के सारे इंशाल्लाह ताला वो ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं.
On the other hand, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz (PMLN) and the Pakistan People's Party have intensified their efforts for a coalition government. On Sunday, PPP leader Bilawal Bhutto Zardari had publicly announced that former President Asif Ali Zardari would be his party's nominee for the presidency. In another development, Supreme Court of Pakistan expressed its displeasure after a petitioner failed to show up for the hearing after moving the apex court for annulment of the February 8 elections. The hearing of the case was adjourned till 21st February. Fuzail Ahmed reporting for DD India.
Israel has said any advisory by the International Court of Justice on Palestinian territories would be harmful after the global court opened hearings on the Israel-Palestinian tussle. At the same time, Israel's war cabinet member Benny Gantz has warned Hamas to release all hostages till the 10th of March if it wants to avoid a full-scale offensive in Rafah.
As Israel-Hamas conflict entered its 136th day, Israeli Defense Forces continue to operate against Hamas in Gaza. The International Court of Justice on Monday opened hearings on the alleged Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories. Israeli leaders have long disputed that the territories are formally occupied on the basis that they were captured from Jordan and Egypt during 1967 war rather than from a sovereign Palestine. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Forces carried out targeted operations in western Khan Yunis, where weapons, drones and explosives were located.
Whoever wants to prevent us to operate in Rafah is actually saying, lose the war. I will not give a hand to it.
On the other hand, Israel's war cabinet member Benny Gantz warned that unless Hamas frees all hostages held in Gaza by 10th March, an offensive will be launched in Rafah. Benny Gantz said, and I quote, "The world must know and Hamas leaders must know if by Ramadan our hostages are not home, the fighting will continue everywhere, to include the Rafah's area." Israel also condemned Brazil's President Lula da Silva for comparing the Gaza conflict to the Holocaust and summoned Brazilian ambassador in Jerusalem on Monday. Israeli Foreign Minister said Brazilian President Lula da Silva is not welcome in Israel until he takes back his comments. In the just concluded Munich Security Conference, the attendees urgently called for a permanent settlement to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict with the two-state solution. Aman Kumar Himanshu's report for DD India.
A British maritime security company called Ambre reported an attack on a British cargo ship in the waters between Yemen on the Arabian Peninsula and Djibouti and Eritrea in the Horn of Africa. According to the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations, the attack took place at Al-Mukha in the Bab al-Mandab Strait. The strike was in close proximity to the vessel. No casualties were reported. Qatar Energy Chief has said Red Sea shipping disruptions would limit the arrival of products to customers in the long term and that diversions were not ideal as they added to the cost and length of journeys. Qatar Energy, one of the world's largest exporters of liquefied natural gas, said in January it had stopped sending tankers via the Red Sea on security concerns.
Nobody wants to divert away from the Red Sea due to cost, of course, and not only cost, but it's also time that's needed to deliver the product and then come back to get a refill, if you will, for the same product. So it's going to add cost, it's going to add time, and it's also going to add constraint on actual deliveries with time to deliver the same amount of products to the customers. It may not be felt in short term, but if it's a long term, then it will actually hamper movement of a net, if you take a full year, a net volume that actually is transferred.
U.S. Republican presidential contender Nikki Haley lashed out at her rival Donald Trump on Sunday while campaigning in the state of South Carolina ahead of the polling for nomination. Haley reminded her supporters of the legal woes the former U.S. president faces in various courts as well as his reaction to the New Hampshire vote for nomination. Haley is Trump's last remaining rival for the Republican presidential nomination. She said that Donald Trump cannot be an effective president or candidate because of his myriad legal problems.
So here we are. Election day is on Saturday. And a year ago this week, I announced I was running for president. And it's been quite the roller coaster. And when I look at how far we've come, there were 14 people in the race. We've defeated a dozen of the fellas. I just got one more fella I got to catch up to. And the night of the New Hampshire election, if you were watching, Donald Trump was unhinged. He didn't expect me to get 43%. He talked about revenge. He criticized my dress. Then the next day he went and he said anybody that supports her is barred permanently from MAGA. The issue is, if you're running for president of the United States, it's all about addition. You want people to come in. You don't want to push people away.
United Nations on Monday raised concerns over Britain's revived plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda. The UN said that the plan would drastically strip back courts' ability to scrutinize decisions and risks undercut basic human rights principles. Meanwhile, United Kingdom Prime Minister Rishi Sunak won the first vote in the upper house of parliament despite misgivings from some lawmakers who attacked the plan as unethical and unworkable.
Settling questions of disputed fact, questions with enormous human rights consequences, is what courts do. And UK courts have a proven track record of doing this thoroughly and comprehensively. You can't legislate facts out of existence. The combined effects of this bill, attempting to shield government action from standard legal scrutiny, directly undercut basic human rights principles. Independent, effective judicial oversight is the bedrock of the rule of law. It must be respected and strengthened.
Let's now take a look at some other updates coming in from around the world. At least 26 people were killed in tribal fighting in the Northern Highlands of Papua New Guinea. The people were killed in an ambush in Enga province, according to the Australian state broadcaster. The Pacific nation is home to hundreds of tribes, many of which still live in inhospitable and remote terrain. The escalating battle between the Democratic Republic of Congo's army and the M23 Tutsi-led rebels, who are purportedly supported by Rwanda, has blocked supply routes to the eastern city of Goma, affecting almost 2 million citizens and displaced people. Clashes have escalated since the start of the year in towns and villages. Huge crowds took to the streets in Mexico City to protest against their president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador's government, targeting the country's ruling party in advance of the country's 2nd of June elections. Thousands of people dressed in pink flocked to the city's main plaza, roaring, "Get López out!" Paris's historic Eiffel Tower closed to the public on Monday to the disappointment of many tourists as its workers held a strike to call for a review of financial management by Paris City Hall. Early on Monday morning, visitors stood outside the barriers of the tower grounds in front of a giant screen announcing the strike. The ceremonial launch of construction of 1,300 houses under Phase 4 of the Indian Housing Project was held in Colombo. High Commissioner of India Santosh Jha joined President of Sri Lanka Ranil Wickremesinghe for the virtual launch. The homes would be constructed in 45 plantation estates across 10 districts of Sri Lanka. The Government of India has committed to constructing 10,000 homes for plantation workers who are of Indian origin. Nepal's state-owned news agency Rashtriya Samachar Samiti, that's the RSS, turned 63 on Monday. The RSS reformed itself by diversifying its services, publications, training and infrastructure. Currently, RSS has been providing news services in Nepali, English and Awadhi languages and also provides international news of various news agencies as well. Nepal's President Ramchandra Paudel congratulated the RSS, saying that it should inform the people by disseminating factual and impartial news. The Indian state of Uttar Pradesh is promoting adventure sports in a big way, and when it comes to bike racing, the state is emerging on the global map. MotoGP Bharat CEO Pushkar Srivastava has spoken about the UP government's inviting automobile industries.
The UP government of Uttar Pradesh is promoting motorsport a lot. Last year they became as one of the official sponsoring state via Invest UP. So they have sponsored the event. Along with that, they have conducted a summit for investment around MotoGP, because government of Uttar Pradesh wants to invite automobile industry. So we have received a proposal of close to 1300 plus crores from one summit, which was chaired by Honorable Chief Minister and attended by Ducati, KTM, Yamaha, Aprilia and who's who of the industry.
India's Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri attended a workshop in New Delhi on Monday on recent developments with recycling and use of construction and demolition waste. The minister said there is a huge demand for technology to support waste reduction and recycling waste materials.
The construction and demolition waste in India is one of the largest solid waste streams in the world. This brings many challenges to the forefront, such as unauthorized dumping, lack of space for disposal, improper mixing with biodegradable waste. C&D waste is rarely recycled on a large scale. Clearly, there is a huge demand for technologies that will support waste reduction and recycling waste material. Recycling discourages illegal dumping and reduces the negative environment effect on groundwater, surface water, air, flora and fauna.
And still to come up on DD India News Hour, we'll be talking with our expert guest about the latest flashpoint between Taiwan and China, which has raised cross-strait tensions. India's president is on a visit to Andaman and Nicobar Islands and has been to the iconic cellular jail in Port Blair. And Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi has taken over as the Vice Chief of the Indian Army. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy, and before we go any further, another look at our top stories. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches 14,000 projects in Lucknow worth $120 billion while visiting the state of Uttar Pradesh. Israel says advisory by the International Court of Justice on Palestinian territories would be harmful after the global court opens hearings on the Israel-Palestine conflict. And the Kremlin says West's reaction unacceptable to Alexei Navalny's death as EU foreign ministers meet in Brussels to discuss the demise of Vladimir Putin's rival. Let's now take you back to one of our top stories where tensions are once again rising to alarming levels between Taiwan and China following last week's death of two Chinese fishermen who were trying to escape Taiwanese coast guards near a Taipei-ruled island close to Chinese mainland. To discuss this matter, we're joined by Ambassador S.R. Tayal, former senior diplomat. Good evening to you, Ambassador Tayal. What do you make of what's happening? Is China using the death of these fishermen as a pretext to, in some way, once again try and corner Taiwan?
First, we need to note that Chinese fishermen have been serial offenders in fishing in the exclusive economic zones of many other countries, both in South China Sea and in East China Sea. Indonesia has been complaining that around Natuna Islands, and they have confronted Chinese fishermen. And in Korea had seized a Chinese fishing boat last October, and after that there was some agreement with China, and that every Chinese fishing boat will have some kind of an identification frequency, etc. Then Philippines, of course, all the time it is complaining, and these Chinese fishing boats have Chinese Coast Guard support. Now, in that background, also we need to see that Chinese fishing boats have been fishing in Taiwanese controlled waters, which they of course claim are their waters, because China always says that one China policy, so Taiwan is part of China. So all the waters are also China, but the reality is different. And the Chinese boats there did not have any, that is what has come from the Taiwanese side. They do not carry any identification tag, there is no name on those boats, etc. So the Taiwanese Coast Guard was fully within their right to chase these boats and to ask them where would they come from. But
and they were chased only because they were running away.
They were running away, they were not identifying themselves, and that is what the Chinese fishermen have been doing. If you see their confrontation with in the Japanese waters around Senkaku Islands or wherever, that they are very aggressive and they run away, and most of the time they have the protection of some Chinese Coast Guard who are nearby. So in all this background, Taiwan has a very strong case that the Chinese fishing boats were operating in their economic zone. They did not have any identification on their boats, and they did not obey the orders of the Coast Guard. So,
but in response, Ambassador Tal, China has not only said it will increase patrols. One of their Coast Guard vessels personnel from that vessel even went on board a tourist boat today. That's what the Taiwanese are saying, and they found some Chinese planes also flying around Taiwan today.
That's this group of islands which is under the control of Taiwan, but it is very close to Chinese territory also, island. So there is potential for the two coast guards could sort of clash here, and that is the danger.
Because yes, very close to Xiamen, in fact.
That's right. That's right. Around Xiamen. So if these Chinese fishing boats are escorted by the Chinese Coast Guard, and Chinese Coast Guard's laws were changed 2 years back, and they are not just Coast Guard, they have been given powers of almost of PLA Navy, that they can try to seize and expel boats operating in Chinese EEZ. So they are just not Coast Guard, they have all the elements of Chinese Navy. So there is a potential of some conflict there between Chinese Coast Guard and the Taiwanese Coast Guard. And two fishermen, Chinese fishermen, are still under custody of Taiwanese authorities. So surely there will be some settlement so that they can be released. But it is a new potential flashpoint between Taiwan and the People's Republic of China. And with Taiwan's election, where a pro-independence president was elected, Mr. Lai Ching-te, already tensions are a little higher than usual.
And Mr. Lai Ching-te is still to take over. That's his presidency's upcoming one, and maybe China is trying to build some pressure on him already.
That's right. China will increase pressure. China has been increasing air intrusions in Taiwanese identification zone, and their boats have been going. So there will, I would say that Chinese pressure on Taiwan, this kind of psychological pressure through more air violation, more boats going into their area, would perhaps increase. They
Yes.
want to intimidate Taiwan, and Taiwanese leadership at present, president is a little more hawkish on against China, but the parliament, the National Assembly is more moderate. So I do not foresee really that there will be some real clash, but there will be higher tensions in Taiwan Straits, along the Taiwan Straits.
All right. We've seen how deliberations have taken place recently, just till yesterday at the Munich Security Conference, where the world was really concerned about the kind of conflicts that have been raging across in different parts, from Russia, Ukraine to Israel, Hamas, then lots of instability and violence taking place in Africa and other places as well. In the midst of all that, if hostilities were to rise between China and Taiwan as well, do you think even China would be ready for it?
China could be ready for it, but US would not be ready for it. So really, Taiwan should be very careful that it will not be possible for Taiwan to protect itself without very real involvement of United States. And United States already, its hands are full because of Russia, Ukraine, and Israel's very aggressive attitude against Hamas, and the whole world seems to be turning against Israel because of their absolutely cruel actions. But America, because of its internal elections, is not able to control Israel.
Yes, there's a problem between the Republicans and Democrats over Ukraine, but do you think there might be a problem with Taiwan as well, in terms of would even support to Taiwan, the kind that the US can give, could become conditional to the issue of immigrants?
But on Taiwan, perhaps the Democrats and Republicans are both in favor of supporting Taiwan and fully securing its security and present status. But Taiwan should also be careful that they should not try to disturb the status quo. And both sides, both China and Taiwan, must try to maintain the status quo. And if it is status quo is disturbed by either party, then the other party will certainly react, and then it can be a spiral to the bottom. So there are already so many conflicts in this world which have flared up in the last 2-3 years because of Ukraine and then Gaza. So one hopes that better sense prevails. And this fishing incident, that is simple, that the Chinese fishing vessel should not come in the Taiwanese exclusive economic zone. So the solution is in the hands of the Chinese authorities. So it is up to them whether they want to escalate or whether they want to de-escalate. But
what kind of a role do the neighboring East Asian or Southeast Asian countries have, many of whom themselves have such territorial issues with China, and China has issues with them, and they've had confrontations as well? Philippines was the latest round some time back, a few weeks back.
Unfortunately, the ASEAN has been very inactive in this. The ASEAN is the real forum in entire East Asia where such issues should be discussed. And so the countries, whether it's Indonesia, whether it's Philippines, and whether it is Republic of Korea, everybody is negotiating separately with the People's Republic of China, and they are being intimidated, they are coming under pressure. So they should try to come together, but China will never agree. China always says that all these issues are bilateral, because if the other countries in whose maritime boundary or EEZ China is transgressing, if they come together, then they will become powerful, and it will be difficult for China to handle all of them.
And what kind of stakes does India have in this, and is there anything that India can do to ensure that the situation doesn't go out of hand? India and like-minded countries, for that matter, in the West, or of course US.
There are two parts to this. One, India, rest of the world, nobody wants another flashpoint or any kind of a hot skirmish or even more between Taiwan and People's Republic of China. At the same time, the world, including India and many neighboring countries, are suffering from this creeping expansionism which China is indulging in. whether it is South China Sea, whether it is against the Republic of Korea in the maritime zone. Taiwan, of course, they claim their own, and gradually they are increasing their, trying to increase their penetration of Taiwanese airspace and EEZ, etc. So the whole world should or will try to convince China that it is in their interest, it is in the interest of peace and stability in the entire Indo-Pacific, that they stop this creeping expansionism, whether it is a border with India, whether it is maritime boundaries of so many countries which they are violating and which they have violated with impunity. And world has woken up a little late to all of that. So this key, unfortunately, lies in the hands of China, because the status quo is being disturbed by actions taken by China in the entire Indo-Pacific.
Well, let's hope that better wisdom prevails and we don't get into uncharted waters, which may be dangerous. Thanks a lot for joining us and talking about it, Ambassador Tayar.
Thank you.
Now, amid the ongoing tensions in Sandeshkhali in the eastern Indian state of West Bengal, India's Supreme Court on Monday rejected a plea for a CBI or SIT investigation. Meanwhile, a 4-member team of a National Commission of Women, including Chairperson Rekha Sharma, visited Sandeshkhali in West Bengal on Monday. The NCW's team, which is on a 2-day visit, talked to local women, including the woman who complained against the ruling party's TMC's Shiv Prasad Hazra about gang rape. National Commission of Women chief said that there are many complaints of molestation against local Trinamool Congress leaders and their associates. Several women in Sandeshkhali have accused local TMC leader Shahjahan Sheikh and his supporters of land grab and sexual assault. Farmers halted their march to Delhi after the government, that is the Indian government, proposed to them to buy pulses, maize and cotton crops from government agencies at minimum support price for 5 years. Indian ministers Piyush Goyal, Arjun Munda and Nityanand Rai met the farmer leaders in Chandigarh for a meeting that went on for over 4 hours. The farmers hoped that their issues would be addressed soon. India's President Draupadi Murmu arrived at Port Blair today and is on a 5-day official visit to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. On her first day of her visit, President Murmu visited the cellular jail at Port Blair in the Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar Islands and paid homage to those who were exiled and hanged as political prisoners in colonial India. Later in the evening, the President was accorded with a civic reception in Port Blair, followed by a cultural program. Addressing the gathering, she said that the island's blue economy has greatly contributed to India's economy.
इस द्वीप को की ब्लू इकोनॉमी का भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था के विकास में महत्वपूर्ण योगदान रहेगा। मुझे बताया गया है कि इस द्वीप समूह से पिछले एवं अन्य मेराइन प्रोडक्ट्स के निर्यात को बढ़ावा देने के लिए कई कार्य प्रगति पर है। इस द्वीप समूह के स्वच्छ पर्यावरण और इकोलॉजी का संरक्षण करना अत्यंत आवश्यक है। विकास कार्यों और पर्यावरण संरक्षण के बीच संतुलन रखते हुए हमें आगे बढ़ना होगा।
Let's take a look at some other updates coming in from around the country as well. A French parliamentary delegation led by Senate Chairperson Gérard Larcher is on a 2-day official visit to India to strengthen bilateral ties and parliamentary cooperation. The delegates met India's Vice President and Upper House Chairperson Jagdeep Dhankar on the first day of their visit. Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi on Monday assumed the charge as Vice Chief of the Indian Army. Lieutenant General Dwivedi laid wreath at the National War Memorial and was accorded a Guard of Honour at the South Block Lawns. 120 Miss World participants embracing the Indian attire gathered at India Gate in New Delhi to celebrate cultural unity. India is hosting the 71st edition of the Miss World pageant from the 18th of this month to the 9th of March. With the latest edition, the coveted international beauty pageant is making a return to India after nearly 3 decades. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel flagged off 70 new diesel buses of the State Transport Department on Monday. Minister of State for Transport Harsh Sanghvi was also present during the event. The Chief Minister, along with other dignitaries, examined the state-of-the-art buses, and both the Chief Minister and Transport Minister took rides in the buses. And still to come on DD India News Hour, the 4th edition of the Khelo India University Games gets off to a colourful start in Guwahati. India celebrates the birth anniversary of legendary Maratha ruler Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. And at the 77th British Academy Film Awards, Oppenheimer dominates with 7 trophies. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. British Academy of Film and Television Arts, that's BAFTA, show host David Tennant kicked off the ceremony by bringing Michael Sheen's dog named Bark Ruffalo. Irish star Cillian Murphy won the Best Actor award for his brilliant performance in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, while Emma Stone won the Best Actress award in Poor Things at the event in London. Here's a report.
It goes to, I can read it, Oppenheimer.
Christopher Nolan's epic movie Oppenheimer claimed the spotlight, securing total of 7 awards.
Our work here.
The film, centered around the creation of the atomic bomb, delivered a powerful statement ahead of the upcoming Oscars. The movie, which has already grossed over $1 billion, previously triumphed at the Golden Globes and Critics' Choice Awards, solidifying its frontrunner status for the upcoming Oscars.
And the winner of the BAFTA for Best Actor goes to Cillian Murphy.
While Irish performer Cillian Murphy won the Best Actor prize for playing physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer, and Emma Stone named Best Actress for Poor Things.
Emma Stone, Poor Things.
Thank you so much to BAFTA for this. This is really a huge honor.
And the BAFTA goes to Christopher Nolan.
Filmmaker Christopher Nolan, who directed Oppenheimer, won his first Best Director BAFTA award for the film.
Thank you for letting us all take on something quite dark and seeing the potential in that.
And the BAFTA goes to Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer.
For Robert Downey Jr., it marked his second BAFTA win. His previous accolade was 31 years ago for playing Charlie Chaplin.
I share this with my fellow nominees. This has been an exceptional year. I owe this to Chris, Emma, Cillian, the cast and crew, Universal, WME, and honestly, just British influence.
Indian actress Deepika Padukone is making heads turn globally. Making BAFTA debut as a presenter, the actress also presented an award in the film, not in the English language category.
The Zone of Interest.
Prince William made a personal confession during his appearance at the 2024 BAFTA Film Awards, as wife Kate recovers from recent surgery. Prince William is the president of the BAFTA since 2010. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
Now, the birth anniversary of Maratha Emperor Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is celebrated on the 19th of February. Shivaji Maharaj's valor is enshrined in the pages of history. 19th February 2024 marks his 394th birth anniversary. Several programs were organized throughout the day and in Maharashtra in particular on the occasion.
Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is one of the brave sons of India whose valor has been recorded in golden letters in the pages of history. Maharaja's spirit is exemplified not only in Maharashtra but all over the country, and his name is taken with pride. He laid the foundation of the Maratha Empire to liberate the nation from the clutches of the Mughals. Besides being a patriot, he was an efficient administrator and a courageous warrior. In 1674, he laid the foundation of the Maratha Empire in Western India. During this time, he was formally crowned as the Chhatrapati or Emperor of the Maratha Empire. The Persian language was widely used in that period, so Maharaj promoted the use of Marathi and Sanskrit in court and administration. Due to his contribution, Maharaj is called Maratha Gaurav. He is known as the pioneer of guerrilla warfare and is revered as the father of the Indian Navy. Maharaj was also a great believer in the rights of women. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Jayanti is an important observance that honors the birth anniversary of the honored Maratha Emperor. The birth anniversary of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is celebrated with great enthusiasm every year, and this year marks the 350th anniversary of the coronation of the Maharaj. Every year, a special program is organized at Shivneri Fort in the presence of the Chief Minister. 1,100 policemen and home guards will be deployed at Fort Shivneri on the occasion of Shiv Jayanti, and devotees are requested to reach the fort after 10 a.m. Pune Rural Superintendent of Police Pankaj Deshmukh has urged.
1,100 policemen and home guards will be deployed at Fort Shivneri on the occasion of Shiv Jayanti, and devotees are requested to reach the fort after 10 a.m. Once the event is over, the citizens will be permitted at the fort after 10 a.m. Full care will be taken to ensure that no untoward incident takes place during the event.
Along with the celebration of this year's birth anniversary at the government level in the district, various social organizations and educational institutions will also be celebrating by organizing various programs at their level. Shama Mishra reports for DD India.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has paid rich tribute to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj on his birth anniversary. Sharing his thoughts on Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the Prime Minister posted on X, and I quote, "Tributes to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj on his Jayanti, a visionary leader, fearless warrior, protector of culture and embodiment of good governance. His life inspires generations." The 16th edition of the World Social Forum, that is WSF, concluded on Monday in Kathmandu. The event witnessed over 50,000 participants from over 1,400 organizations and 98 countries. Participants deliberated upon a wide range of pressing issues, including economic inequality, social justice, climate justice, among others. The event has come to a conclusion with 60 declarations from organizations worldwide pledging to collaborate towards a fairer world. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres also expressed support in a solidarity message to the WSF 2024. And it's time now to get you some sporting updates as well. The 4th edition of Khelo India University Games kicked off on Monday with a glittering opening ceremony in the northeastern state of Assam. A part of the Indian government's Khelo India initiative, the Khelo India University Games 2023 will witness around 4,500 athletes from 200 universities across 11 days participating and competing.
The 4th edition of Khelo India University Games was declared open in the northeast city of Guwahati on Monday. Around 4,500 athletes from 200 universities will be participating in the games, which will take place in 7 sister states of Northeast and will end on February 29. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually addressed the opening ceremony through a video message. In his address, Prime Minister Modi applauded the efforts of various state governments, including the Assam government, for their contribution to promoting sports. He also highlighted the evolving ecosystem of opportunities for the youth.
खेलो इंडिया हो, टॉप्स हो या ऐसे अन्य अभियान हो, आज हमारी युवा पीढ़ी के लिए नई संभावनाओं का एक पूरा इकोसिस्टम तैयार हो रहा है। ट्रेनिंग से लेकर स्कॉलरशिप देने तक हमारे देश में खिलाड़ियों के लिए एक अनुकूल माहौल बन रहा है। इस वर्ष खेलों के लिए रिकॉर्ड 3,500 करोड़ रुपए का बजट दिया गया है। हमने देश के स्पोर्टिंग टैलेंट को साइंटिफिक अप्रोच के साथ नई शक्ति दी है। इसी का नतीजा है कि आज भारत हर प्रतियोगिता में पहले के मुकाबले ज्यादा मेडल जीत रहा है।
The grand opening ceremony was also attended by India's Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur, alongside Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma and Assam Sports and Youth Welfare Minister Nandita Garlosa, along with a host of other dignitaries. The opening ceremony witnessed thematic showcase highlighting the values of unity, diversity and spirit of sportsmanship. Speaking on the occasion, Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur said that these games are not just an opportunity to win medals, but a unique platform uniting athletes and communities alike in the spirit of sports and cultural exchange.
Khelo India University Games are more than just a battleground for medals. They are celebration of unity, sporting spirit and individual growth. Over the next 10 days, our athletes will compete for more than 822 medals.
A total of 16 sporting disciplines are held in Guwahati, with 4 sports being held in other northeastern states. The event is organized at 18 venues in 7 cities during the 11 days. The Khelo India University Games is a part of the Indian government's Khelo India initiative that was launched in 2016. The Khelo India mission focuses on promoting grassroots sports and identifying young talents from across the country. Sports Desk, DD India.
And that's all we have for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.